Hello and welcome to the Foundry Files. I'm Woo.
And I'm Admiral Murphy.
Hang on. Yeah,
I point the wrong way. That way. Yeah, haven't we done this before?
So,
I think we've done this before.
I thought established that. But anyway, what are we doing today, Limbo?
Oh, well, there's this little guy who came on the show. His name's BranFlakes. I don't know what I did meet him. He's actually taller than me, so but I'm not that
taller.
Yeah. But anyway, so the taller dev guy than me is BranFlakes, the community manager over at Star Trek Online, who does, surprisingly, tons of Foundry stuff. I mean, you think of a community manager, you think, oh, they just ban people from the forums when they're bored. I'm pretty sure BranFlakes might do that maybe once in a while if he's bored, but for the most part, he's actually doing some pretty cool stuff, a lot of it being Foundry related. So we did talk to him a lot about that in our interview. But first, we've got a bunch of news here. There was a spotlight, some updates to the Foundry, news on the Foundry and the Romulans that we're going to hit. So we're going to hit that before the interview. Anything else you want to add in before we hit the news, Wee-wee?
Well, the main part of the show is the interview, and any summary that person over there actually put up will probably give that away anyway. So,
or you found it on the Cryptic website. So if you found us, welcome. Hopefully you like us.
A bit of a clue. But let's get right into it, shall we? We've got a bit of news.
Let's go.
Let's cover that first. And on to the news spotlight, as always. Well, pretty much every week. Not really the past 3 weeks because Brandon's been on holiday and has had a bit of a disease called the flu or the cold or whatever it is.
I guess that's a good enough excuse.
Anyway, this week's spotlight actually has a name, unlike Murphy got played last week.
I forgot last week.
Order of the Hov-Ew, I think it is, by S.B. Koto.
Wow,
it's a Klingon mission.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I can't pronounce any of it.
I thought you were the Cleon fan. Wait a second, you're the Cleon guy.
Yeah, doesn't mean I can actually say the words. Yeah, I'm more...
Sounds like I should go call Ceridium up so we can get some clarification on this.
Anyway, level 16 plus requirement. The Empire has gotten wind of a growing cult within the slums of Kronos. Order of the Hov-Ew, which means Star of Blood in our language.
We should just say that from now on.
You are asked to join the cult, find its purpose, and then destroy it all. First part of a 7-part series.
Ooh, big one. So I'll definitely give you some stuff to play through. I think I've actually played the first 2 or 3 parts of this series. And I only thought it was 3 parts, but so it might have been something different. But it sounds like something I've played before, because I remember playing a series that took place kind of on Kronos and revealing a cult of bad Cleons. So
I've seen it before in the list when I've been going to the Cleon missions. Yeah, so I've always been interested in what that's like, and I'm actually glad it's a spotlight mission now because I'm actually interested.
Definitely means something's up there that people are liking it. So
plus it's a multi-part series, which really makes it interesting. And considering what series we're reviewing now, oh by the way, we forgot to mention no reviews because of the interview. So don't expect like the part 4.
Part 4. Yeah, part 4 will be next week. We'll finish it up the following week, and then I think it's the Tholian mission and a whole bunch after that. So we're definitely going to be rolling through reviews. But anyway, there was a big-ass cryptic on a bunch of questions. Not on the Foundry, though, sadly. I had some, but apparently somebody else named Wee-wee got his in. It had nothing to do with the Foundry, so I'm just saying. But there was some clarification. Oh, did you want to defend yourself there? Anything?
No,
You're good.
I'm already better. I'm already better than you anyway. So let's continue it.
I don't know. I'm going to complain to Dan Stahl directly. So if you're listening to this, Stahl, I have complaints.
Yeah, we are terrible people. We are terrible.
Anyway, so he did make some comments on Romulan and Foundry missions, though, when some other people were asking questions later on. And so basically, here's what he says. At launch, Romulans will not be able to play Foundry missions until they choose an ally, and then they can only play Foundry missions created for that ally. As many have suggested, we will be adding a new filter that will allow Foundry authors to create Romulan-specific missions that only Romulans allied with either faction can fly and team together for. No ETA has been provided at this point. So, I know you didn't seem to be too surprised by this when you heard this answer.
I was disappointed, but not really surprised at the same time, because I've mentioned it in the past month as well in previous episodes. There's not really that many Romulan assets to use. I'm hoping they'll put the Romulan costume creator in, so you could create an actual Romulan costume in the character creator and all that kind of stuff. just the basic stuff. But other than that, I really can't see much else unless they do like another major update to Foundry. Kind of a shame, but it's not too surprising at the same time, unfortunately.
I do think that's going to kind of... I'm curious, because I was really excited to make like Romulan-specific missions. And I guess it kind of can still be done, but it's weird having it have to be an ally thing. And
yeah,
I have
that actually just bring me up to the point there. We're probably, with that announcement, until the Romans actually get their own Foundry missions, we're probably going to see more Romulan-specific missions on both the Feds and the KDF rather than Fed or KDF missions. So expect a few of those, not really cluttering them, but sort of like in between the actual specific faction missions. So if you see if you're creating a Romulan mission, rather put like this is intended for Romulans, please, because it's a better idea to say this is what's happened. It's like this didn't happen to me. This is a Romulan. I'm not like Romulan. That kind of stuff. So that's just a bit of advice. All you Foundry authors plan to or create a Romulan mission, rather.
I'll be curious to see how it works, because I was already highly not impressed that they were this whole ally system. I don't even know how to explain it. I wasn't a huge fan of hearing that, because I wanted it to be the whole separate thing. It still seems like they're going to be their separate thing. So maybe the ally system will be cool. Maybe it won't. I'll have to see it to see how I like it, because it could be something really cool or something.
I think this is where D-Style really clarified this part. The Romulans are really their own separate faction. It's just right now, because they're getting the ground, so to speak, they really need some kind of... I don't know how to phrase this. I don't want to really say allegiance, but it's the closest thing I could say. Allegiance and backplay from other factions. And I know that sounds bad, but the factions already have their faction content. Obviously, it's a bit debatable with KDF, but that's another discussion entirely. But again, it also fits into the storyline. The way D-Styles phrased it in a couple of the dev blogs he's put out is actually very logical, it's very concise, and you can completely understand it. It links in the storyline, and it's completely understandable game-wise as well. So actually, this is probably a great move for the Romulans, and the way he's described it, I actually fully support it now. It makes complete sense.
Alright. I definitely can see why they would definitely need the help and stuff like that. So, we don't have long to wait. I mean, May's coming right up. It's like April now, so not that long until we will be able to actually sit down on holodeck and play with our Romulan characters and stuff. I'm pumped.
Just think a month ago, but it was about this time that the countdown started, so...
Yeah.
Just do this month over and over again, and then you'll probably get your stuff at the beginning of May.
Alrighty. So there's been so now Red Shirt's up, because Triple, I guess they're doing all the Romulan stuff there, so they're putting some of this stuff on Red Shirt, which includes some Foundry updates. So let me pull some stuff out here. So they update some of the display names for the shuttles. Looks like some Mirror Universe Dreadnought is... What is this? Hold on.
It no longer thinks it's a carry ship. Well,
okay, I don't know what that meant. That's why I stumbled there.
Well, we have dimensions and other universes, but... Alright. What else we got? Removed Klingon original series as an option for space NPC group species, since there are none.
Oh, okay. I thought they meant ground for a second. I was like, oh, don't do that. But yeah, there isn't any space. I think there's only the D7.
Yeah, it's the only D7, yeah. And actually, I think it was Night of the Comet where you face the D7s. They still launch binaural warheads. So I think those are just reskins, so it doesn't really make a difference.
They probably still have the costume in, so you could still reskin it.
Yeah. Removed abilities you sought by FX for exterior backdrops, since they did nothing useful. Probably understandable.
I don't know what they are, so.
Remove type Klingon for interior backdrops, since there are none.
Yeah.
Okay. Cardassian and Dominion are now new options in the species drop-down for space NPC groups. I think that's another separation. I think they did it with the ground, didn't they?
I thought they already did it for the space, because I remember getting super excited about it. So...
I think that was only the ground one, actually, if I recall correctly.
The ground was always separated, because I was able to either place the Cardassians or the Jem'Hadar on the ground. Space is where they were mixed always, so I thought they had done that a while ago, so I don't know what this means.
I get what happened. They separated them, and now they're just putting the different categories, so it's no longer saying true wear or anything like that. It'll bring you to both.
Okay.
It'll just add them both out, makes sense. Updated the description for the creature behavior to reflect its updated tactics.
Right.
Only. that's just a bit of text. Don't worry about that.
Yep.
And the way Murphy put it, new bling bling objects added to.
No, that's how Zero put it. That's how it was in the thing.
Zero put it.
Yeah, new bling bling.
I didn't see that bit in the patch notes.
Yeah, that's what it said. I wish I said that.
And then a long list of shipping to
that part I wrote down because it was really long. But basically, if it's in your Federation ship interior, if you're using the basic one, it's now in the Foundry because they added like the pool table in, lamps and fish tanks and all that type of stuff. If you walk around your ship interior, it's now in the Foundry. Like they even added the pool queue in. I was like, did they even happen?
The poker table's there.
They're taunting me. You know, that's what I probably should ask BranFlakes when he was on. I was like, when are we getting poker? I still need to know when we're getting poker. I was super pumped. When poker was announced, do you remember, were you around? We were so talking about it. It's like every Friday night we'll have a poker event. And nope, never happened.
I don't think I was actually around the fleet at the time because that was a long time ago.
It was a while ago, season 2-ish.
But I actually looked back in the history of the forums and I found it there. It's like, we're going to have poker every night and all this kind of stuff and I'm going to bet this. And it's just like, dude,
crazy.
Calm down. It hasn't happened. I know I'm talking to 2 years in the past, but still.
Whatever. Anyway, that's all the Foundry news for this week. Hopefully there'll be some interesting stuff to talk about next week. But now we're going to move into our interview with BranFlakes. Sorry that it is not video, just because we don't have the money to pay for group Skype calls every month for video. I'm cheap coming from the British guy. I don't even know what that was supposed to mean.
Well, I don't want to... Actually, no, I don't want to touch that subject right now.
All right. Let's just say our budget's kind of low, so it is audio only, but we'll have...
It's audio.
Yeah.
Let's just get into
But it's still pretty good, so yeah, check it out. Hello, and welcome to our interview with BranFlakes. Hello, BranFlakes.
Hey, how you doing?
Alrighty, and we've also got Wee Wee here again, of course, and then recording this thanks to Lee. He's the guy who made all our intros and stuff. He's got a whole bunch of YouTube videos out. I'll have a link in the show notes so you can check that out. But thanks, Lee, for recording this. Anyway, so BranFlakes is the community manager over at Star Trek Online. And everybody pretty much knows he runs the forums and stuff. So we don't even have to ask that question. But I do want to ask, how did you start working at Cryptic? Because it's quite an interesting story from what I remember.
Yes. Well, I came from the community. So I started playing Star Trek Online during closed beta. And I remember getting my invite and almost crashing my car because I was like reading my email when I came in. I was so excited. And it was so funny because I think 3 weeks later I was leaving to Guam for 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss most of it. But I would get up at like 2 a.m. over there because that corresponded to the time in Pacific time to play the closed beta. So I'd go to like this gas station because they don't have good internet over there. But this gas station had Wi-Fi. So I'd go over, sit in their lobby and sit and play STO. It was hilarious. It was a lot of fun though. But so yeah, and then of course I started playing when it launched. And I got invited to do a podcast, I think 3 months into launch. It was called The Neutral Zone. I was a co-host. And we had about maybe 9 or so episodes, and then it kind of faded out. And then my friend, Mark, and we started Priority One. And we did that until I left to come here. And in between, I also worked at Massively. I was the STO columnist. So I've always been involved with STO. And I would work with the PR reps at Cryptic for interviews and things like that. And I just worked really closely with them, kind of befriended them and let them know that, hey, this is what I really like to do. And Stormshade came on to do an interview and I chatted to him after one time. I said, I really want to work on STO. I'd love to do what you do on it. And he basically became my mentor and helped me along the way, got me involved with different online groups that supports community managers. And the position finally opened up when he transitioned over to Neverwinter. And that's history.
Pretty sweet. Do you still get the opportunity to listen to your old podcast?
I do. Oh yeah. I try and listen to every single STO podcast every week. So like I have different days when I listen to each show. So I definitely try and fit them all in.
Sweet. All right. Before I let we ask you some quick questions here before we get started, I have one very important question that's been bugging me.
Sure.
Do you select the Ask Cryptic questions?
No, I don't.
Okay, good. Because if you did, I was going to ask you, why the heck did you pick Wee Wee's over mine? But
no, I
guess I'll have to say that for Stahl.
Like I said, right in the forum thread, I pass him off to Stahl, and he goes through and answers what he can.
All right, he's the guy I should be dealing with. Great. All right, Wee Wee, you got some quick questions there for our guest?
Oh yeah, just a few different questions.
Okay.
First one: favorite Star Trek series and why? Which one?
It's got to be Voyager.
Oh,
and
no.
I got to tell you the reason why.
All right, here we go.
So growing up, Next Generation was in... When I could finally comprehend what was happening on TV, Next Generation, I think, was in the 5th season or so. Let's see, it started in 86, right? So 87. I was born in 86. So I think, around 5. Anyways, my dad loved it. He grew up on TOS. And so he would have it in the background. And I guess I didn't catch most of it. I just caught pots here and there. And I hated it. And I used to call it Star Trek because I couldn't say Trek. So I like, I don't want to watch Star Trek. And what's funny is I love space. I had all my toys were like spaceships and stuff, and I love NASA, but I didn't get the show, I guess. And then Voyager premiered, and he sat me down. He's like, you need to watch the new Star Trek. I'm going to watch it. I'm like, Dad, I don't like Star Trek. He's like, just watch it. I think you'll like it. And sure enough, it starts off with, that big chase in the Badlands and all this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I think it's my favorite because it really opened my eyes to Star Trek. And then
the first one.
Just from 2010 to 2012, I did something in the STO forum. So even before I worked here, called Star Trek The Journey, where I went back and I watched all of TOS, all of the animated series, all of TNG, all in order of premiere date, and then the movies in between seasons as they premiered. And that was the first time I saw TOS. That was the first time I saw all the series, except for Voyager. I saw a few Deep Space Nine episodes here and there growing up, and then I watched like the first season Enterprise. I don't know why I didn't continue watching it. But so I finally have seen every episode ever made, and it's made me even into a bigger fan. And it's so fun to go back and play through STO missions because I'm like, oh, that's where that's from. Oh, that's where that's from. It pulls a lot of inspiration and story, which the series did throughout their time as well.
Yeah, the only one I've missed is the animated series so far, but I'm currently... it is on Netflix. I'm currently watching... There's a podcast out there, Mission Log, which is going through each episode each week in production order, so I'm watching along with them. So after TOS is done, I think they're going into the animated series next, so I think that's when I'm going to watch through it. And then I'll have seen all of it.
14 years it's going to take them to figure out something like that.
Yeah, apparently...
Oh, no. Way more than that. That's like 33... No.
I think they said 13 years. It's
13 years. Because
all
there was
the way to the end.
24 episodes, and there's 52 weeks in the year. So yeah, that's about right. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It is. Eugene Roddenberry got them set up, so it's pretty cool. And he'll guest star every once in a while, so it's pretty sweet.
That's really.
So what has been one of your favorite Foundry missions that you have played? Do you know? You got one off the top of your head you really like?
Gosh.
It's a tough question, I know.
I think I'm going to have to go with City of the Palmarie with Ali Max.
That's probably my favorite as well. I just love that mission. It's quite fun. There's so many good ones out there, but gosh, have to pick one, just to see when that was originally made and how much creativity and how, so that, it was made a while ago before some of the tools even out, and it's been revamped here and there. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a really fun mission. And then the spotlights that I played, I've got a lot of fun ones out of there, like that I had never played before. And then when I was playing through the spotlight, like Infinitesimal Frontier, which was a recent spotlight, that's a really cool one because it's got you shrink and you go somewhere. I won't say where, spoiler alert. But I don't think we've reviewed that one. I've played it though. We should probably review it. We put it down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's really cool.
It was a fun one.
You're supposedly shrunk, and it's really cool how they do it.
Mm-hmm. So, if you had to create any mission in STO, that was completely up to you. If you had the time to create one, what would it be about?
It would probably involve time travel, and it would probably involve Q making you time travel, but not backwards, forwards. Yeah. I don't know what the exact story premise would be, but Q would make you, whoever the Q is, would make you time travel forward, and you would basically have to get back.
I love anything with Q in it, so I support that.
Well, your mission's great that has the female Q.
That was my quick way to get around not being able to use the real Q. Plus, I was like, if I have to make a new Q, I might as well make it a female Q.
Yeah, that's a really fun mission.
All right,
I had actually the most fun when we had it up as Spotlight, and hopefully we'll be able to get it back up soon. But I had the most fun trying to take the picture for that one, getting hurt and getting herded in the animation, and myself to do the animation at the same time. It was challenging, but really fun to take the photo.
I loved it when Kirk Fat added in the Q Flash too when he put it over on the Starbase UGC. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I didn't think about that one.
All right, do you want to hit the next question there?
Spotlight missions. Why did you find it important to bring back the Cryptic Spotlight?
Well, I think it was an amazing program, and I think it was important because the Foundry is a very big piece of STO and something that is very unique to the game and that a lot of players don't know about. And I really wanted to bring that back after we had we had a community meeting. I had a conference call on Skype. I think there was like 30 or 40 of us on a Skype call talking about the Spotlight and things like that. And it started out very basic. It was just a news post and then an in-game bulletin, which we were just using the bulletin system. We had to manually write the bulletin, import it, and then have it show up. And, it got so much success and so many people were playing it that it turned into a full-fledged feature in the game. So the community is really responsible for that. And I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, it's definitely been a huge success with the different spotlights every week, and I enjoy quite a regular mission on the basis. One of the more recent ones, Spectres Part 6.
Yes.
From the feature episode contest. I really like that one.
Yeah, it's really cool to see some of the variety of missions, and I love that we had the Foundry Challenge and the winners go up there. That was a really great suggestion from someone. I'm like, heck yeah, let's add that as a prize.
Yeah, and actually speaking of the spotlights, how is the process of selecting these missions achieved or done?
So there's a few different ways that I receive missions to play. I'm looking out for them on Twitter. I'm looking out for them on Facebook. I'm looking out for them on the forums, of course, podcasts like yourself listed on Podcast UGC, looking in-game at reviews. I don't look at star rating, so that's a big importance. I don't look at star rating. I actually look at comments, and I don't just look for one. I look for a trend and recommendations and things like that from the devs of ones they've played. So, yeah, it's sent in through a variety of different ways.
Sounds like quite an interesting process there. It must take you a while, though, with all those missions out there.
Yes, I spend a good portion of my week or so, playing through Foundry missions to look for ones for the Spotlight. So it does take a lot of time, but you know what? It's a lot of fun. I love playing Foundry missions anyways. I do it on my personal account so I can, get my dilithium and my rewards and things like that. So it's a really fun to get to see so many different missions. And I love doing. I'm really privileged, I think, to be able to do that as part of my job.
So for a while there seemed to be like a halt in the Spotlight missions. It looks like they're coming back now, but is there anything authors can do to help to get missions spotlighted more frequently so that there can be one every week like there was before?
Yeah, so there's always been one every week, unless there's been some weird circumstance like 1 week we had an author submit it and then I played it and then something was buggy, so I wanted to give them a chance to fix it, and so it took a week. But then this past time there was 3 weeks when there wasn't. That really just came down to me because I was on vacation. And I wasn't anywhere near where I could get on a computer. I was in international waters. And then the other time I was at PAX. And I have to plan them in advance. Mm-hmm. And I have to actually go in game to feature them. So there just happened to be a small break. It shouldn't happen too often, but it did unfortunately happen 3 weeks in a row. It worked out weird. Probably, if anything, it would be a 1 week break, not a 2 week, let alone a 3 week. So you should start to see those coming out regularly. In terms of what the community can do to help out, I haven't thought about that, but I'm definitely open to ideas. I think the main thing is maybe finding missions that I've played through and then maybe have a group that maybe runs through it the day before the Spotlight just to make sure they haven't found any bugs or anything that stops them. But I typically will play through it twice, once on my dev account, once on my personal account. That way I know that everything kind of worked out. But yeah, if you have suggestions, I'm definitely open to them. Feel free to email me or tweet me suggestions. I'm definitely open to suggestions all the time.
Sweet. All right. So now we're going to transition into Foundry contests because this is another big thing to do over on the forums. So how did these Foundry contests start up?
I think they're a byproduct of the literary challenge. I thought, what a great way to put a premise out there for kind of a mission and get people involved. And, we're on our seventh. Yeah, we're on our seventh one right now. Mm-hmm. And it's evolved from the first one. The background story for the first one was very like, do X, Y, and Z and make your mission, where I started to get really relaxed and just have a basic setting, some kind of premise or background story. Yeah, I can't believe how much participation it gets. It's really awesome to see. I love doing them. The community loves playing through them. So, same thing, open to suggestions, open to feedback about it. If you got it, anyone listening out there, tweet me, send me in, message me on the forums. I may not be able to message back, but I definitely read it in game as well. So I think that it's been really fun to do, and I'm really excited to continue them.
So what is the process for the Foundry contest for those who haven't heard of it? How does the whole contest work out?
So I kind of just come up with it. I try and look at maybe what's going on in the game at the moment or what new assets have been added. We did the Tholian challenge recently, which was actually not planned. I changed it last moment to the Tholians. The one that was planned for the Tholian one is the one that's going right now, the shuttle one. But then I saw the Tholians got added, and I said, "Oh, we got to do a challenge with the Tholians. That'd be cool." So yeah, I kind of think about the premise. Only one time used a community submitted one. We kind of did a contest where people are like, "Oh yeah, I like that one." And the reason is I want everyone to have a fair playing field and no one to know what could be coming. That way there's no pre-built maps and things like that. I'm pretty sure no one would do that anyways, but still, just to make sure everyone kind of has a level playing field. But I'm always looking for new and creative ones. So if you know you're not going to be participating, you have a really good idea that you want to share, send it to me, and I'll definitely consider it. I would just ask that if you submit it, that you don't participate in that one if it's chosen.
I've got one. I'm going to say it right here because I want to. You need to do a challenge in the future sometime that's like focusing on the Gamma Quadrant, because I'd love to teach Space Nine the Gamma Quadrant. So if you have a challenge to focus on the Gamma Quadrant, that'd be awesome.
That'd be a cool one. Yeah, I mean, we've got the enemy groups and stuff like that, so that might be cool. You might see that one in the future.
Yeah, maybe like visit a colony world or something in the Gamma Quadrant, or some alien race, something like that.
Or a space station counterpart to Deep Space Nine on the other side of the wormhole.
Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'm definitely going to write that down. Who knows? You might see it as the next one.
Cool.
All right, so you kind of touched on the other two questions here, so we'll skip them. And do you want to ask the next one?
Yeah, where do the ideas for what a Foundry contest topic come from?
So for the Foundry, the background stories?
Yeah, like the ideas. I think you've kind of answered it before, but is there any sort of like process in thinking that, or is it just literally just make it up on the spot?
No, like I'll literally sit there and think about it. I do have the old Star Trek encyclopedia, and of course I have other books, and of course we've got Memory Alpha on the internet and things like that. So sometimes I'll look through that for ideas, look through old episode guides and things like that, and look at premises and choose something off that.
So you kind of touched it on already. I was going to ask you, what are some ideas you have for future contests? I don't think I've heard about the shuttle one yet. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so that one's going on right now. Basically, the premise is build a mission that's built around a player being in a shuttle. Now, I know there's not a volume or anything you can set that says a player has to be in the shuttle, but I put some guidelines around how to format your mission journal, like the text entry description. Mm-hmm. But I think that is that's a cool one, and I think it takes a lot of thinking. You can't just make a mission and then say, "Oh, be in your shuttle." The most creative missions are the ones that are going to get the most amount of votes, are the ones where it's very small spaces. And a great example is Kirkfat's mission, the one with the Borg where you go in. So something like that, really cool. So I can't wait to see what some people come up with for it. But yeah, that's basically the premise. Build a mission that's built around the shuttle, balance your combat that you do around it. And of course you can have ground, but if you can tie it into that you were in a shuttle, that would be even better.
I love solo missions in the game. They're so fun to play, and because I have the like the Yellowstone runabout or whatever, and I love flying that ship around.
Yeah, I actually have taken the engine out of it and put it on my Delta Flyer so that I've got that little power.
All right, so you kind of briefly touched on the literary challenge. I don't know much about these, so what are these exactly? Because I've seen them on the forums, but I don't know much about them.
These are every 2 weeks. They're held in the 10 Forward sub-forum. And think of the Foundry Challenge, but they're literary. So you write your story. And we're on number 41, I think. It was started before I got here, so I will say that. But it was gone for quite a while. And then I kind of resurrected it. I think it was maybe number 12. And players have been participating, like, actually more recently, maybe since number 37, we have like a core group of writers who, when I post the new one, maybe the discussion page had got to page 3 and maybe there was like 7 or 8 entries, but now there's like dozens and it gets to like page 20 plus of forum responses of people discussing writing. So it's really cool to see, and it allows people to be creative, maybe tell a backstory. So like we did one of tell the backstory of your bridge officers or your first in command, or you've taken over a new ship, and it was a way to write, how they came into being, their backstory. So it allows people to flesh it out, but also tell, fan fiction and things like that.
I definitely love the idea that I should definitely check this out, because I remember the first one I saw of that, it was like, take an item that's important to your captain and write about it, why it's important.
Yeah.
And I really just liked hearing about
it. Prized possession, I think.
That might have been it. It was a while ago. But I don't think I ended up writing anything for that one. But what I write about in Stowe is I think we've seen this, but I've written like detailed captain's logs for each of the missions in Stowe to kind of transition my character, which I wrote about a little bit before Stowe's time, into the Star Trek Online universe. And it's been really fun. I have logs all the way through the main story arc, and I'm always excited when a new mission comes out and I get to write it up. Like I just recently wrote the one for the 3-year anniversary event, and that was fun to do.
That's really awesome. Yeah, I mean, I love things like that, and I also try and tie it into the game where possible. Like I did one when New Romulus was first put on Tribble, like you're beaming down for New Romulus for the first time, and they wrote a captain's log entry about what happened. The current one is you're doing a patrol, and there's a space station that you've received an emergency distress signal from, and they've basically had these aliens come aboard and have now taking it over. And there's a device on board on the station that they're conducting research on that if it fell into the wrong hands could be disastrous. So you're the closest ship, and the next ship is, I said, a few days away. So you are it. And write a captain's log entry about how you got onto the base, who the enemy was, and how you were able to, and what the results were. Something like that, where I provide, a couple things to talk about. That way players kind of have a basis of where to start.
Very cool. All right, do you want to hit our last question here before we roll out?
Well, just as a closure, really, where can people find and get in contact with you?
Sure. So I'm on the forums all the time. I try and be in there as much as possible. I used to think that that the community manager roles were really just being in the forums, but there is so much more to it. Let me tell you, I'm in there. I'm checking every hour or so. What I use is the today's post link, and I'm able to go through there and see new posts as they come in and look at those. So, but I'm always responding on Twitter and things like that. Anyone that tweets me, unless I miss it for some reason, I respond back, even if it's like, I don't have the answer to that, unfortunately, or pointing someone in the right direction. But yeah, that's the best way, is if you use Twitter or you're posting on the forums. If you need to get in contact with me directly for an issue that's related to the website or community, it's best to submit a community ticket via support.perfectworld.com. Make sure you go under customer support and then choose the forums and website. And I get those. If my name is mentioned in there, like it's something directly towards me, the community team that's working on it will make sure I see it. So, but honestly, the absolute best way is Twitter, just because I have it open all day and I can respond anytime.
Very nice. So thanks for taking the time to come on our show, BranFlakes, and it's awesome to have our first dev interview, especially after a week break. But thanks for coming on, BranFlakes, and I hope we see you around.
No, my pleasure. You guys do a great job. I listen often, so keep up the great work. And yeah, I will see you around soon. Legacy of Romulus is going to be incredible. I cannot wait for you guys to check it out. So I'll see you in game, and I'll see you on boards.
Later, BranFlakes.
Again, thank you for BranFlakes for coming on to the show this week. So you can email us at foundryfiles@gmail.com for missions. If you want to share trailers there, you can. If you want to leave feedback, you can. If you just want to get in contact, that's a great way to do it. Anything else we want to let them know about?
Listen well.
All right, thanks for the tip, We will see you guys next week for episode 23. Later. go ahead when you're ready.
Shall I just intro like this is the news?
Yep, this is the news.
This is the news. No, that doesn't work, does it?
No, don't do that. This is not Foundry Files the musical. Facepalm.
Put that in bloopers, will you?
Hi, bloopers. This is Foundry Files the musical.
Yeah, this is the
It was a mistake.
never trust me again.